Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Business Over a Brew. My name is Ellie. I will be your host again for the day. Today, joining me in the studio, I am sitting down with owner and founder of Teachers as Tutors, Hannah Church. Hannah, welcome to the studio. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's a beautiful Friday outside. I wish the weather was a little bit nicer, but we will take what we have.
I know, right? The snow, the ice is gone now in St. Louis, but now it's just rain, cloudiness. But oh well, I'll take it over the snow. I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of it being so incredibly cold. But thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be on the podcast today.
Absolutely.
Typically, I like to open the show with a segment called Business in a Nutshell. It's kind of like an icebreaker, except I'm not really asking you, what's your favorite color? So just a couple quick fire questions really before we get into everything. So the first one was, and I know this one is tough because sometimes it's a long-winded answer, but what do you think was your aha moment that inspired you to start Teachers as Tutors?
It's a great question. Actually, I have a background in education. So I was a teacher for a couple of years. Loved it, loved my classroom, loved my kids. The district I was in, we had a little bit of a conflict just with values. So it was something that I had left that district, and I did kind of pursue a couple other things at that point, but I had gotten my master's degree, and in one of my courses, it was create a mock business. And so with my teaching background, I decided that I wanted to do some kind of tutoring business. I had done some market research and realized that there wasn't a lot of opportunities for families to connect with actual teachers in order to help their kids succeed. And so I kind of wanted to be that avenue. And so that was my mock business that I created. And then towards the end of the class, I decided that I did want to, in fact, make it a reality and really give that support to families across the St. Louis region and hopefully, breaching more into the Illinois region as well. So,
right. Absolutely.
So that was kind of my aha moment. I have a passion for helping kids. I love teaching. I love everything that we do. We have all of my tutors have excellent hearts, and we're all in it for the right reason. So it's been an incredible journey so far.
I mean, what you guys are doing is great, and I can't wait to really dive into it and hear the ins and outs and everything. But my next question is, if Teachers as Tutors were to have a theme song to it, what theme song do you think it would be? And if you can't think of a theme song, sometimes I tell guests, what show would it be? My example is always over at Big Z Media. It definitely gives The Office a lot of the times.
Love that.
Me too. But what do you think Teachers as Tutors would be?
I would say something to do with perseverance. I don't want to say the first song that popped in my head was "I'm a Survivor." I think it's Destiny's Child, and the reason why I say that is because we started during COVID. So we got our start in, I think it was like June of 2021, June or July. I want to say it was June 2021. And so just helping families survive that time, I feel like was a big driver for the start of my business. So I feel like that would be a pretty good theme song. My business kind of took off, so I don't know if that necessarily describes like the state of my business, but really helping families feel connected, feel supported. A lot of the times they feel like they need a lifeline. So
yes, absolutely. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
A really good answer. I like that one. And then my last question for business in a nutshell is, what would be the one word you would hope people associate with Teachers as Tutors?
I would say just authentic. I think that would be the biggest one. We want to be, we don't want to be one of the big tutoring corporations that you would see across, St. Louis or across the nation that is, not one-on-one, that is not authentic, that isn't, that direct instruction, individualized instruction. Like we want to be the professional you go to, but have the same feel as the neighbor down the street that's tutoring your kid. Yes. So we really just want to we want you to know where our heart's at in it. And we want to be as authentic as possible. That's why we model our business in the way that we do, as flexible as possible for families. we set up our payment structure in a certain way so that our families have the freedom and flexibility to leave whenever they want to as well. Our ultimate goal is for children to succeed. So really just setting it up in a way that parents feel supported, successful, students feel successful. Ultimate goal.
Yep, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that was it for business in a nutshell. Very easy. But I would just love to now really hear, the story behind Teachers as Tutors. How did you start this amazing thing that you're doing that's impacting so many families and kids across the St. Louis and hopefully the Illinois area as well? Because this is just such an awesome thing that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes when you get stuck in the nitty gritty of the everyday, it feels good when people help you see the big picture and recognize kind of what you're doing. So thank you. I appreciate that. Like I had mentioned, how we got started, I had the idea in June of 2021 to kind of start this business to connect families to an actual certified licensed resource for their kids that were really struggling after COVID. I mean, we all saw the COVID backslide that happened with kids with the virtual learning. Schools did their best, but it was a time in society where we didn't really know what the next steps were. So I feel like I just kind of recognized that need in society with having my background in education in our community. I recognize that, if we don't have a successful educational pathway for students, that we're not going to have a successful future as a country. And so, just starting this business to help connect families, like I said, to that reliable resource, to that professional resource that really is going to make an impact in their child's education, that it's not just, a whole group instruction of 20 kids where their child's going to get lost amongst the sea of others. Really honing in on that individualized instruction, making sure, I keep saying it, making sure that they feel supported. I mean, that is the number one thing, is support and success. And obviously fostering relationships and building that one-on-one connection. But yeah, so that's really how we got our start, and really have just progressed through there. I mean, once I got started, it was very apparent how big the need was with how many families were reaching out, more so than I could keep up with demand at the beginning, which is a good and a bad problem at the same time, because I realized, how many families really were struggling. But I'm so grateful that we get to be an avenue, a resource for families to be able to come to, find that support, find that, experience, that professional, background.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But you're totally right. There was such a gap at that time. And I would honestly say that goes across all the boards, whether you were in school at the time or you were out working in the world. Everybody had a lot of transitioning, a lot of adapting going on. And we definitely lost things in that transition. But I'm also extremely interested, just in general, what it has been like to be a business owner and to build this from the ground up. Because again, I can't imagine that was an easy task.
Yeah, I feel like once you have a passion for something, it really just sparks something in you. I know with my background in teaching, I've always had a passion for helping kids. And when I got my undergraduate degree in education, I also got a business minor. I knew eventually I wanted to do something with that. I just wasn't sure when or in what capacity. And really COVID, although it was such a negative thing for our country and for our children, it really was a positive for me in creating the business, coming up, and really just starting from the grounds up and building this business to what it is. Like I said, we came along at the right time. I think families were and students were in a very vulnerable point at that time. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. Parents were still feeling the effects of the virtual learning with their kids. So building the business, it was fun. It was very fun. I love connecting with tutors, with teachers. We have so many things in common, obviously, and I love working with professionals. So that was always easy. That part was always great. And then marketing to families. I love talking with families. I love giving them encouragement. Even if I can just talk to a family and provide them, advice, resources, even if they don't use my business, I love being that resource for families. to help, better their child's quality of life, their education, their future. That's ultimately what it is. So yeah, building this business has been such a blessing, such a privilege. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I can see you, like, you are just so from the in and out. It's like just extremely passionate about this. And I love it. I love it. But I'm curious, what does the process look like if I was a parent or a guardian and I was, interested in researching and learning more about Teachers as Tutors? What does that process look like from the very beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. So usually what happens is families will reach out to me either by phone, on Facebook. We're on Facebook too, but usually through our website. It's teachersastutors.org. I'm sure Ellie will put it somewhere. But it's teachersastutors.org, and they go to the contact page, fill out the information, and then that goes immediately to me. I will reach out to the families myself. So I'm very, very passionate about that. I think that that's very important to show how dedicated that we are. So I reach out to families myself. I talk them through, what their concerns are. I see how we can best support. We come up with a game plan together, make sure it's a good fit for both of us too. I'll explain kind of how we run things, make sure it's something that you guys want to commit to. And then once you have decided, you want to move forward, I will start going through my network of tutors and see who would be the best fit. And that would be based on what they're certified in. Like I said, they're all licensed teachers, so they're all extremely qualified to support. It would be what they're certified in, what they have experience teaching, where they're located is a big one. Because like I said, we have families and tutors all over St. Louis and hopefully Illinois soon. But once I had somebody identified that I thought was a perfect fit, I reach out, I set up a Zoom call just to get us all in the same space, get us all talking about the best needs of the child, how we can best support the child. I always give the family like free reign to kind of tell the tutor in their own words what's going on too. It's always better coming from them. I always prep the tutor obviously before, but it's always better kind of coming from them, giving them that time to explain it in their own words so those natural questions can come up. And then after that, we talk about the details, the when, where, how often. We do all of our tutoring at libraries. Just makes the most sense. It matches the school setting. It's quiet. There's resources. The home can be extremely distracting. So we are flexible on that, though. And then you really work with the tutor on scheduling. So whatever works for you guys, we don't necessarily have to operate within business hours. So, weekends, evenings, whatever works for you guys. And then you and the tutor carry out tutoring sessions after that. And that's pretty much how it works. And it's a session by session kind of payment structure. So you're free to, have as many sessions as you like. And as soon as your child starts succeeding, that's the point where we're like, okay, let's see how they do on their own. So, very flexible business structure. And we really welcome any ages, any subject. I always say, if I have somebody, I will accommodate it, but I also will never promise you something that I can't deliver. So call me, have a conversation with me. We'll see if we can support you. I will do everything that I can to get you the resources that you need, even if it's not us. But yeah, that's our ultimate goal is for children to feel success.
Right. And as you're talking about all of this, I'm thinking to myself, what would be the separation between using you guys, using a larger, already established place with tutors, or just individual tutors? Because you're talking a lot about support and a lot of just like harnessing that type of relationship and even creating a relationship and a conversation. But what do you think really sets the two apart?
Yeah. So I think going back to what I said, that one word is just authenticity. It really is just professionalism. It is making sure that everybody I provide you is going to be the best resource for you, and making sure that everything we do is that driver for success. I know other companies will probably model that as well. I know a lot of other companies don't use licensed teachers, but really just going back to that hometown feel of like your neighbor down the street tutoring, but with that aspect of professionalism. And that flexibility with that same kind of arrangement of the tutor down the street. If you have to cancel or change days, we're extremely flexible. We just want to do what we can to meet you guys where you're at. So I think that's what sets us apart, is authenticity, professionalism, and just a general desire to help. So
100%. And then when you do, connect with different licensed teachers throughout the area, what have been things that they have said since, joining the team and really being a part of Teachers as Tutors? Because I bet they also have a unique perspective as well.
Yeah, so I've actually had the privilege of writing letters of recommendation for some of my tutors. So we had a partnership at one point, or at least I had a partner at SIUE,
Okay.
I'm sorry, not SIUE, SLU, a partnership at SLU.
Gotcha.
So we had a partner with SLU for a little while, and they had told all of their teachers that were going to be graduating soon about my business, and we came up with an arrangement to where teachers who were training to be teachers could come work for me, even though they weren't licensed teachers. I would disclose that to the family. It would be at a bit of a discount, and then that would give them experience. So it's been really awesome being able to help teachers kind of develop their careers. And also, I've never written a letter of recommendation for somebody before, so that was really awesome. Just that we're helping people jumpstart their careers and get that experience for helping kids in their own classrooms. It's been great. And also using professionals, they come with their own, they all work in different districts. So they all come with their own resources, their own like best practices. I mean, generally, they all teach the same stuff, but when your child's in one district and they're learning one thing one way, it's kind of nice to have an outside perspective. So yeah, teachers love working for us. It's like I said, we're in it for the right reasons, and they can feel that.
Absolutely. I mean, growing up, personally, so much love and respect for all of my teachers. Not only were they just a teacher, but they were also a friend when you needed a friend. They were there to support you. They would, kids would love when teachers would show up to the little CYC games on the weekends. It was so cool. Everyone loves their teachers. So again, I'm just going to keep emphasizing, but like what you guys are doing, like it really is such an impactful thing. And speaking of impactful, like what was the moment when you really realized, oh my gosh, what I'm doing is really changing people's lives?
I feel like I said, you get in the nitty gritty every day, and then people will, you start talking about your business and people will stop and say, wow, that's amazing. And it really does kind of zoom out. And it's like, wow, we are doing some fantastic work. I think hearing the success stories from my tutors, it's something we love to highlight. I'll have tutors reach out to me and say, so-and-so, Sally, whatever little girl's name is, she just got an A on her math test. Like, we are stoked. This girl was failing math and now she's got an A or a B or whatever it is. We celebrate everything that's a success. So I think just hearing all the success stories from my tutors on how great the students are doing and how well they're succeeding in school. And I think even it seems so counterproductive or counterintuitive or whatever. But it is a form of success when a child doesn't need us anymore. It seems crazy to say that because then it's not really building my business, but it is success because that is our ultimate goal, for you not to need us. So yes.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And, putting back that business hat on, I can't imagine your day-to-day looks the same every single day or every single week. But in terms of Teachers as Tutors, what does that day look like for you?
Yeah. So day to day, it's really a lot of talking to people. It's a lot of talking to families, getting out in the community, trying to find different events I can go to that will, let families know that we're out here. I don't do a lot of marketing. I think that takes away from the authenticity a little bit. I do a lot of social media, just kind of putting blasts out there, or like I said, I'll go out to events in the community.
Right.
But it really is just talking to families. Obviously there's the clerical work behind it of invoicing and all of that, but I think really the bulk of it is the arrangements that I put together. Is talking to families, connecting them with tutors, the Zoom meetings, the calls, all of that is the bulk of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as a business owner, now doing this podcast, I have talked to quite a variety of business owners. But there's always areas where there were some challenges that we had to overcome, some great wins that we had. In terms of challenges and wins, what stands out to you of, this was a really difficult time, but we got through it. It was amazing. We were successful. We helped family XYZ. Does anything come to mind in terms of challenges you guys have had to overcome or you have had to overcome since starting Teachers as Tutors?
Yeah, I think one instance in particular kind of stands out. We were able to support without getting into too much details with,
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to breach any privacy with any kids or families, but there was a family that had reached out to us in a pretty desperate situation. One of their kids was not doing traditional schooling anymore. It wasn't helpful for him. It wasn't beneficial. It was actually hurting his mental health. And so they were trying an alternate approach. We actually are trying to break into the homeschool, the homeschool, not family, the homeschool kind of world, the homeschool market in order to support. So this family had reached out to us in kind of a desperate situation. They had expressed that they wanted somebody to come and help their child through virtual learning. Okay. Not something we typically do just because with the pandemic and the virtual learning, but she actually came and sat with him while he was being taught online, and she would work with him through his assignments. And it was just a different type of schooling. This is why I said earlier, if you come to me with a situation and we can support it, I will find you the teacher for it. So I had a tutor who was available to do something like that. And she went and was able to support that student, and they were able to get the help that they needed, was able to be successful and more successful in school than they were when they were going in person. And then he was able to integrate back into school the next year. So it was definitely a success. It was a different way that my business has experienced success before, which was really great. And that's why I feel like we just keep an open mind over here. If we can help, we will. And we just try to think outside the box to see how we can solve problems. So definitely.
And then, just in terms of goals, what you would hope to see Teachers as Tutors really evolve to one day, what does that vision, that goal look like to you?
I would love to branch out into Illinois. I would love to branch out into like Columbia. I went to school in Columbia, so I feel like that would be a natural next step. There's a lot of teachers there, obviously, it's a big teaching college. So I feel like that would be a great partnership as well. I would love to do more partnerships with universities, even high schools, elementary schools. It's kind of hard to market into schools. They're very protected for a good reason. But somehow finding a way to partner with different school districts, really just finding different avenues to partner with the community in a way that is fruitful for them and for us as well. So
right. And I'm also thinking while we're sitting here chit-chatting, if there's a parent out there or a guardian that's listening right now, what would you want to tell them? I know we've kind of covered a lot, and there's definitely some repetitive themes going on throughout our conversation, but what would you really want to share if there is a mom or a dad sitting out there listening, saying, wait a minute, this might be a great resource for my kid?
Yeah. I would say, first of all, if you have any doubt at all, give me a call. I will talk you through anything. I will be a support for you in any way that I can. I will point you to resources. I always say, if you have any questions, just give me a call. The main thing that I would want people to know is that we are, our hearts are just, we're in it for the right reasons. We want your child to succeed. Our goal is for you to not need us anymore. We say that all the time, but it's true. We don't want you to need us anymore. We want to move on to the next family that needs us, and we want your child to succeed. So we're not the big cookie cutter, tutoring companies out there. If you've tried that and that hasn't worked for you, come try us, and we will partner with you in whatever way we can.
Wow. I mean, it sounds so comforting and really great to hear. I'll share a little personal story. Growing up, I needed tutors. I needed people to help me. I needed a lot of help in the math and science end of things. But in terms of reading, English, reading comprehension, it was so easy. Great. But I went through a lot of different tutors, and some definitely helped my skills and everything. And there were other times where it wasn't a good fit. And, I feel like that happens, and that's completely okay if, this one's not a fit. But to hear what you have been talking about, and how you really are just like, let's just have a conversation. And if I can help you, I will. It's really encouraging. And it's like, I almost wish that there was something like this back when I was in school, because it really just felt like every single week I'm trying out something new. Nothing's working in my school. It's kind of like what you mentioned at one point, just like feeling like a little fish in the sea. There's just a lot of moving parts. And sometimes having that one-on-one time to really feel comfortable with the teacher or the tutor that you're sitting down with, but also get that type of hands-on one-on-one attention is great. So everything you're saying, I'm hearing loud and clear.
And I think you brought up a good point with, not everybody will learn best from everybody. And so that's why I keep such a wide network of tutors, is if for some reason I connect you with a tutor and it's just not clicking, it's not vibing, if there's something that's just, and maybe it's not a personality conflict, it's just that your child doesn't learn best from that person. Right. I always say, let me know. My tutors will not be offended. They understand that as well. They're teachers, they get it. We will find a different arrangement for you. Now, does that happen often? No. But it is available. We always make that known. And if you need to use that kind of lifeline, we are welcome to do that.
Right, absolutely. And then if there was a teacher listening, where could they go to, I don't know, what does that process look like if they were interested in joining?
Yeah, I can't do what I do without having my teachers. So I am always, always, always open to adding people to my network. What's really great about being my network is it costs you nothing. We are a contract business, so you're not my employees. You don't have to commit to me full time. You don't have to commit to me at all. You're free to come and go as you want. The only thing I do ask you to commit to is if you commit to a family, that you commit to that family. But you can decide how many students you want to take on, what days that you're going to work. If you're not available on Fridays or the weekends, then don't do Fridays and the weekends. That's completely fine with me. But it costs you nothing to join my team. You're going to feel very rewarded from being over here. And I think that you'll see our just our authenticity in our heart whenever you come over here. Oh, and if you want to apply, go on our website, and it's the same avenue as parents. It's just there's a tutor tab instead. Make sure you include your resume on there if you could. But yeah, we would love to have anybody join us. The only asterisk is that you have to be a licensed teacher. If you are a teacher in training, though, still reach out and we'll see if we can work something out.
Right, definitely. And to those listening, don't worry, we'll have all the links, so it's very easy on the user side of the end. But yes, and I know you mentioned, as we're wrapping up the show, that you were on different social media platforms. But if they did want to go and find you, maybe on Facebook, is it just Teachers as Tutors?
It's Teachers as Tutors _LLC. I can throw you that as well if you want to put that out. But yeah, come follow us on Facebook. I'm in like every mommy group in St. Louis. So, come use us as a resource. If you need us, we would love to have you.
Definitely. And I know earlier, I asked you, what were your goals, your visions, but is there anything happening in the year of 2025 that we should keep our eyes out or make sure we are staying up to date on anything?
Yeah, so I would just say, like I had mentioned before, we're really trying to break into the homeschool space. We really have noticed there is, after talking to homeschool families from being in this space for a while, I've noticed that although parents are completely, competent enough to teach their own children and your children best, sometimes there's certain subjects that maybe you don't feel super comfortable teaching, or maybe you're teaching it and your child's just not getting it and you don't know any other way to describe it or to explain it. And you would really just like somebody to come in and either support in that subject or at maybe one class or whatever the case may be. We've even had families that have said, just come over and take over all of it. And so, we're really wanting to break in that space to see how we can be a resource to homeschool families. Like I said, we know that you don't need to be a teacher to teach your kids, but sometimes having somebody who's trained can be a great resource. So I would say 2025, that's a big goal of ours, is to break into the homeschool space.
Most definitely. Well, I appreciate you taking time, Hannah, out of your day to be on this podcast. I wish you the best of luck. I really do think that this is going to just take off. one of these next days. I absolutely admire the work that you and all of these teachers, our heroes, are really doing for the community, for the kids. Again, I'll say it. I wish this was around when I was going through the educational system, truthfully. But thank you so much. This was awesome. Teachers as Tutors is great. Again, to those listening and tuning in, I will have all the links. Everything will be somewhere in the captions or the description area. But yes, Hannah, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Ellie. I appreciate it. Thank you all for listening, and come try us out. We would love to have you.
Come try them out. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellie.